How you going, guys? It's JetSemi here, and today we're going to have a look at the startup procedure. We're going to be using the assisted startup procedure. The manual startup procedure is a little finicky at the moment, but we're going to use the assisted startup procedure. We're going to taxi, take off, go for a fly, and turn around and come back and land. Now, there is some extensive reading to go through, so we're going to have a look at that before we get into the aircraft. So first off, we're going to have a look at the information on where to find things first. Because basically finding around the aircraft is your #1 key. So here we go. So the things you're going to need to look for is the primer, which is on here on the left. It looks like a silver button. Which we'll have a look in a minute. The next thing you're going to need is all your mixture, propeller, and all that sort of stuff, and the engine distribution dial, your fuel tank distribution dial, your magneto switches, and your masters and all that sort of stuff. So, without further ado, you can read most of this later, and it goes through in detail what each thing is. But we are looking up how to start the aircraft. So to start the aircraft, we need to make sure the parking brake is set. We need to verify fuel level with the fuel gauges. Now, I have a feeling they're broken. They don't actually show. You got to turn the selector to both. You got to open both the valves, either left or right, whatever one you prefer. We're going to have to get the wobble pump, which I'll show you, which is 4 to 5 PSI before we can actually start it. We'll need to prime the engine as well. For hot weather, we need to do 1 to 3 strokes. For outside weather, for cold, is 4 to 5. Turn the magneto switches on, the master switches on, sorry, magnetos to both. Select full power, or set full power to rich and mixture, or propellers to rich and mixture, and your throttle only 10%. Right? So I'll be reading through that in a second. The other thing that you're going to be looking for is your manual start. Now, I haven't actually got the manual start to work yet, so we're just going to do the first one, and then I'll do another video on the manual start. So the assisted start is open the clipboard and get the aircraft started. So I'm going to give you guys about 5 seconds to have a look at that while I switch over. So if you want to pause, take a screenshot, and now, there it goes. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is we're going to jump in the aircraft. The only way to verify if you've got fuel now, obviously with what we have set up on the aircraft, is obviously got to have fuel tanks. That's the only way, because these 2 tanks for some reason are not working. Alright, so we know we've got fuel tanks. I'm just going to reset the aircraft, because I did have this going before, but I wasn't recording, so I had to restart. Anyways, so we're going to start on the left tank, so we'll get everything set up. Okay, so first things first. Make sure that the parking brake is set, which it is. I'll just set the parking brake. Turn all the lights off. That's all good. Make sure everything is off. Right, so the first things first. We need to make sure parking brake is set. Make sure the fuel levels are good, which we did. We got to select on both, so selector. We're going to set the fuel on both, and we're going to hit the wobble pump. While we're doing that, we can get old mate to start the flywheel. So he'll start up the flywheel stuff, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab the wobble pump and get it to about 5 PSI for about 3 to 5 PSI. Come over here to the selector, select the left tank, and we're going to pump the engine. Make sure that the pump's closed off again. And while that's wobbling, hit the wobble, wobble, wobble. When that's green, hit that. Now it didn't start. Why? Because we need mixture. So we're going to set the mixture. We just broke the engine. We're going to set the propeller, and we're going to set 10%. Good. So, start the flywheel again. Get the wobble pump. Up to 5. Wait until that goes green. When that goes green, the engine should be primed enough to go. Not good enough. Alright, so what we're going to have to do now is reprime the engine. So we'll set that to green. Reprime the engine. We're probably going to flood the engine, you watch. Alright. That's all sorted. And there it is. Okay, so we'll just let that run for a bit. At that. Mixture full rich. Propeller full forward. Throttle will bring up to the same. Prime again. Come over here. Selector to right. Prime. 1, 2, 3. Make sure the primer's gone away. Do it one last time. Get the... And we are started. Alrighty. Mixture down to... Alright, so we'll just reset. We started that without magnetos, which is bad. My bad. So make sure you select the magnetos. We bring the mixture down to 50. Or taxi. We got our selectors, that's all good. Everything's looking okay. Right, so the next thing is we need to have a look at our takeoff. Our takeoff is on manifold pressure, 36, RPM 2200 for a max of 5 minutes. So we don't want to be doing it for too long. Manifold pressure is right there, so we want to be about 36 before the red. And our RPM's there, so we don't want to be over 2200. Once we get into a climb, manifold pressure back to 32 and RPM back to 2100 and above 100 Fahrenheit, which I don't think we will be today, would have our carburetor heat, which can stay off for now. So apart from that, we can get going. So we'll turn some lights on. Turn that landing lights on. Master switch on. Parking brake off. And left wheel brake down, because this aircraft can turn on its axis pretty much. Very easy aircraft to taxi. Very noisy aircraft too. Very, very noisy aircraft. What we might do... Don't worry about it. Mixture full rich. Turn onto the runway. Now this aircraft has no flaps. So remember, 2,200 RPM for 5 minutes with 36. Then we got to come down to 32 and 2,100. Alright, and that'll be our climb. So we're going to have a look at what our climb and all that's going to be on the side here. We don't really have speeds. We just need to be at 32 with 2,100, and our cruise will be 2,000, between 27 and 29. Alright, so looking down the runway. So there's 36 on the manifold. Maintain center runway as best as possible. Best as possible. This aircraft's a little crazy. Alright, gear up. Alright, so we're coming down to 32 now. RPM back to 2,100. There it is. And there's our climb, guys. So basically that's takeoff. Gears up, there's no flaps, and that's basically it. These radial engines sound so good, and the aircraft does get dirty after a while too, so it really is a nice little aircraft. So, bearing in mind that we are, to say we wanted to level off and cruise now, so it did say up here, can't read it, so 27 to 29 at 2,000, so I wanted to level off and cruise. Bring that RPM back to 2,000. I don't know why it creeped up there. There's our cruise, guys. Alrighty. So we'll head back to the airfield now. But we're still climbing. So this aircraft really does love climbing. The flight modeling feels a little different because the aircraft's not rounded or anything. It's more of a box. In my opinion, it feels different. But for an old aircraft, 150 knots, the size of this aircraft is just phenomenal. Where it looks like we're at 3,000 feet there. Now to land this aircraft, you want to be around about 90 to 75 knots. I don't know if there's a landing checklist on this. Always keep your carburetor above 100. That's that, I think. Miles per hour, cruise speed, best rate of climb, 1,150. . That almost looked like it shut down, didn't it? It did. Alright, so we're one engine out, boys and girls, so we're gonna do a one-off landing at the same time. So, affected engine, left off, off, and off. So there's our runway. So our left engine's out. Just saying. So our speed's dropping good, so we can bring our landing gear down. So I wasn't expecting us to have an engine failure straight away, but it's okay. So we're using our right engine now. We'll do an emergency landing, as well as a landing for the startup taxi and takeoff landing tutorial. So you get 5 in 1. We'll do some more emergency landings in the future. I honestly don't think there's a way of starting the engine again. Possibility? No, I don't think so. You can only start outside. Pretty sure you can only start outside. Right, so landing gear's down, lights are all on. We're just controlling the aircraft with one engine. Coming in pretty quick. I'm just going to shallow out my descent. Bring the RPM back up to full. Alright, we're going to make the runway, so I'm going to bring the tower back now. So I don't know why we lost the engine there. I wasn't expecting to lose the engine, but that's okay. I might have accidentally bumped the RPM and it got overheated or something. So this is about 70 knots, but it's probably a bit too slow for landing. Alright, flatten out the aircraft, so you gotta remember we're a tail dragging aircraft. Feels like we're down now. And there we are, we're down. So I'll just taxi on back with one engine. Well, we'll get off the runway. How's that? So for that, we'll just bring the throttle, bring the mixture, sorry, down to medium. Jump off the runway. Parking brake on. Throttle all the way back. Lights all off and bringing the mixture all the way back. And there we go. Why it turned off, I don't know, but that was an emergency landing on the airfield. Anyways, startup taxi tutorial. So yeah, you got a bit of everything all in one. So you got a bit of the flight modeling that they put into the aircraft, or the some of the failures that they put in. So this aircraft has failures throughout it. It's riddled throughout. So if you don't do something properly, which I probably didn't, you're going to have a failure. So if you want a very advanced aircraft, this is it. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.